Hi, Nicole. How are you?
Hey, welcome back, everybody. I'm great. How are you doing?
Good. We're doing something fun today. So, we
Yeah,
wanted to
me
add
too.
massive value into this community. And we also were like, we have so much to share when it comes to, we haven't really talked a lot about our coaching businesses, right?
Not at all.
And
I feel like
it's
it's we
like,
we barely mention it once in a while,
yeah,
but and then we talk about other things that light us up. But I think that both of us get really lit up by the
yeah.
things we talk about in our coaching.
Yeah. So today, what we're going to be doing is actually the next few episodes. We're actually at bringing massive value. We're actually bringing you programs.
Yeah.
We were like, how can we add the most amount of value into this community? And it's like, we're just going to give away the bank today, tomorrow, the next
Yeah, we're
time.
not
Like,
gonna gatekeep. We're gonna like just
no,
give it to you. Give
yeah,
it to
we're going to give, you're a pervert. Hi, I'm Anna Ennis. This is a co host, Nicole St. John, who has
you.
12-year-old boy issues.
Oh, hey, hold on. You have to restate
No,
that.
I don't mean it like that. I mean, she like is stuck in our teenage zone, all of us. She's stuck in
I
that place
don't
of
have
where
12-year-old boy issues. I have a 12-year-old boy sense of humor.
sense of humor, whatever.
We're gonna edit that out. Okay. So
So today's we're gonna start with we've broken this down into modules, you guys, and to keep this short, sweet, and beautiful to where it's like information and content that you can absorb, right? We're gonna talk about some good stuff, right?
yes,
Like I'm ready.
we're starting this off talking about some self-awareness because, it's
Mm,
come up quite a bit in the last few weeks in my life. And this is something I'm already really passionate about is self-awareness. And what do I mean by that? I mean, whenever you have like you are conscious knowledge of how you feel, how you're showing up, how others perceive you. I don't think that we often think of that as part of our self-awareness, but being aware of our perception of
mhm,
ourselves through the eyes of other people. Um, and, as well as your desires, your motivations, like the things that make you who you are. I think that it involves understanding your own needs. And these things are so important because without the self awareness, there are people that I know, someone that I know particularly well right now is dealing with this. Like they were not self-aware in how they were being perceived, and it has potentially cost them their job.
mm,
And
dang
you
it.
know, they they got the feedback. They were warned, like, hey, this is how this is coming across. This is how you're being received. And instead of taking the time to reflect on that, they doubled down on how they were behaving in this workspace, and now it's potentially costing them a really lucrative position. um, and it's really unfortunate that all that needed to really be done was take a minute, don't take it so personal,
Hmm.
and really just kind of say, how can I communicate better so that
Hmm.
I can be perceived how I desire to be perceived? Take the workspace out of it. I think of, oh, this is going to be so bad, the naggy wife, right? Here you think that you're just giving like really good like information. You think you're being supportive in giving this information, and your partner is like,
Hmm.
seriously, I don't need you to mother me. Like, stop telling me what to do. Or maybe they don't even give you that much of a feedback. They're just like, stop nagging. Like, stop nagging at
Hmm.
me. Or they become, cold and distant and ignore you. And you're going, what's happening here? Because you can tell that there's something different. But you have to be willing to have the conversation and say, hey, being self-reflective lets you know, okay, first of all, it lets you know what is it that I'm meaning to say? How do I want him to perceive me or her to perceive me? Um, what's the point I'm trying to get across? How does it make me feel whenever I'm talking about it? And what is it that I want to get from this? All of those things, you have to be self-aware and reflective of yourself to figure out, like, where is something being misconstrued? Where is the miscommunication happening? Because I'm saying this and you're receiving this. You're hearing, God, you don't ever do anything, and like clearly I need to mother you, when really all I'm meaning is like, I thought that maybe you didn't notice because you hadn't done it. Or whatever the case may be. It's all in how you choose to be aware of yourself and communicate. Um, and this is really having self-awareness for women, I feel like especially is really important whenever you're thinking of cultivating like intrinsic empowerment,
Hmm.
right? Like this empowerment that comes from understanding your strengths, your weaknesses, and areas that you can improve upon. Um, it's important in being able to lead yourself,
Mhm.
um, having a greater confidence, and really being like asserting yourself, not in a negative, like, actually, no, yeah, just in assertive, being assertive, saying what it is that you want. You got to be
Mhm.
reflective before you can even have the boundaries, which is a whole nother conversation. But if you're not aware of what your needs, your desires are, you're not going to be able to communicate them effectively. You're going to
Mhm.
wonder why there's like things are just not jiving with you. Like
Mhm.
it seems like there's like these missed, like every time I try to communicate with this person, it's not going the way I want it to because you don't even know what you want because you haven't done the work to figure out where it is that you are, where it is that you want to be, how you want to show up that way. Um, just kind of realizing where you're at. Um, I think that it's really also important in decision making. All of those things apply. So, with regards to self empowerment, decision making, being self led, having healthy relationships, relationships in which you can understand, again, what you want it to look like and how it's being perceived whenever you're communicating that. Um, do you have anything to add, Anna?
Yeah, I love this conversation because, like, I feel like the beginning part of every person's personal journey starts with self awareness. Like, whether we go to a program or whether we attend a workshop or whether we go, and we travel and we, go to an event, like, right? It's all honestly to heighten our self awareness. Like, I think it is. I think self-awareness, if we're not gonna change anything in our life and we change that, like, that changes our entire world. Like, just being aware of your own thoughts, your own, like, what your own desires are, like, what you just become like that thing that you turn the light on that thing, everything starts to change. There, like, Nicole and I both belong to different, groups and organizations and things that are with women that are all into self-awareness. And
Yeah.
I choose to surround myself with women who are very self-aware because it makes the dial in my self-awareness higher, and I'm able to actually like, I don't want to say change, but I'm able to unlock versions of myself and unveil versions of myself I never knew possible before, because I understand and I'm aware of what my body and my mind and my heart and my soul all need. And I
Yeah.
think, yeah, all those things you brought up, even just decision making, like the relationship in your marriage or with your significant other, the relationship with your kids, like, dude, it's all self awareness. The boundaries, like, I know you're going to talk about that in the next module coming up, is like, you can't have boundaries unless you're self aware.
Yeah.
Like, you can't change your life. You can't have a new life or a new identity unless yourself, anything and everything that you desire, stems from self-awareness. It's like the starting point of everything.
Yeah. I
If
think
you
that
got a
there's,
lot of trauma, same thing. If you got a lot of trauma that you need to deal with, right? Like, self-awareness. Like,
yeah, I feel like it is a starting point. And I think that, so right now, I know that we've talked about this on previous podcasts, but especially with regards to parenting, you've got a whole generation of kids right now that are going no contact with their parents. And I think that this stems from the lack of self-awareness on the parents' behalf. Whenever your kid is coming to you and saying, I don't like that you've talked to me like, oh, well, I'm so sorry. I'm such a bad parent. And you're like, don't do that. Like, this is not an attack. I'm communicating that I'm not happy with X, Y, and Z. And then you want, like, what you're wanting for them to respond is to say, I'm so sorry that that's how that came across. So sorry that how I responded to that had this adverse effect for you. I mean, it's literally like just these small little things. And it's the acknowledgement, right? Sometimes
mhm,
in the relationship, your spouse, when you're upset with your husband, the last thing you want for them is to kind of take that same kind of a reaction, right?
mhm.
You want them to not dismiss what you're saying, to be able to be open to hearing it and really own it. And that owning it is the self-awareness piece. And sometimes I've got issues with self-awareness, and I'm going to share mine really quick before we go. Um, at my job, my day job, I worked with a woman who, she would always be like angry cleaning, and I love her to pieces, but she was an angry cleaner. And I have a thing that I like to call situational unawareness, like being situationally unaware. I will be so like work busy, and then whenever my patient would be gone and I wouldn't have anything, I would just kind of like like kind of go into my own mind. You know, I wasn't really paying attention to what everybody else's needs were, and it would really bother her. And I was like, I would tell her, "Hey, if you need any help, just let me know." And she felt like, "No, if you're like, you should just be willing to help." And I'm like, "But you're a grown up and you should be able to tell me if you need help. I shouldn't have to guess." And so her perception of me was that I was lazy. And when I realized that that's what that was, oh, it killed me. I was so upset that that was her perception of me. I had no idea that that's how I was being perceived by my coworkers. It was like I was freaking lazy because I would get done with my work, but I wouldn't help them with theirs. And I was like, I didn't realize that was the perception. And whenever we finally were able to have a conversation about it, the relationship got better. But I had to be able to own that and to be able to say, "Shit, this is an area where I'm really struggling. What can I do to really just constantly?" And so I got, since this coworker was not willing to like have that conversation with me and be like, "Hey, I need your help." She felt like she shouldn't have to do that even after the conversation. I did have one coworker who was willing to, because we communicated. I said, "Hey, you're really good at letting me know whenever, like, hey, I need some help over here. Would you mind just kind of doing that if you notice that if you happen to just notice in your busy day, that I'm just like slacking a little bit, let me know, because I don't ever want that to be the perception. I totally want to help. Sometimes I just forget to ask. I forget to just insert myself in the situation." So it changed my work relationships. It made people feel like I had their back more, made them feel like they weren't doing all of the work. It decreased the level of resentment that they were building for me. So think of all of the ways that that can help in your own personal relationships, your work relationships, and for yourself,
Mhm.
building up that self-awareness.
It
So,
could even be the flip side of the coin too, because I'm remembering back to like when I was doing hair, like, and you have a million people and I'm training a million people and it's just like a lot going on and there's like a lot of people in one building, okay? And I'm the opposite of that perspective. Like I'm the perspective of like I had to learn how to turn it off because I literally will know every single person's name in the building. I'll know what they're getting. I'll know what they need to be trained on. I'll know where they need to stop. I don't even have to see them. I can just hear them. I can feel them. And so for me, energy is like a huge, huge thing. Like I absorb energy, other people's energy. And so like I can automatically know how to fix 20 things at one time. But
yeah.
like that's also a self-awareness, is knowing that there's a control part of that, right? And we sometimes form our identity off of the control that we have. And so it took years of deconditioning to like stop that, turn that voice down. Right. And the only way you do that is when the only way you turn the voice down, probably is pretty similar to how your coworker was, is that you just become aware that's not you, that's not your situation, right? Like you don't need to be involved with every single thing.
Yeah.
And we see this time and time again with our parenting, with our kids too. Like there's a lot of moms and dads out there that we tease about it, but it's like helicopter parenting. It's like very unaware that we're over parenting our kids.
Yeah, that
Like,
we're robbing them of the opportunity to
yeah,
become resilient. Yeah.
yeah. And I've struggled with that with my kids also when it comes to like, as they're in middle school right now. And I just have to be okay that they are totally different personalities. And as we go into high school, my experience of high school is totally different than theirs is going to be. They may not love high school as much as I did, right? Like they
Wait,
may not be as involved, and that's okay. It's an awareness that I'm learning to build, and it's okay. It's fine. It's no big deal. It's just I have to be aware of it, right? So I think we all have these like little trigger points of awareness that we all try to work on and then we all just try to strengthen even more. And I think the more that I've become just more aware, I'm not changing the thoughts, I'm just aware of the thoughts. It's kind of like, when you're sad or you're frustrated or you're angry, it's like you can change the amount of like, I think the frequency in which you feel those by your thoughts, but you're still going to get angry at times. Like it's just us. You become aware of it and you just react differently. So I love this conversation. I love talking about self-awareness because there's so much to like unfold with it. Especially the deeper and deeper you get. It's almost like there's a reason why I'm a part of a program for myself when it comes like a mastermind program. Same with Nicole, is because like the more you uncover with self-awareness, the more you become a more enlightened person. And the more enlightened you are, the more like awake you are. Like the more that you're awake, the more the consciousness of the entire world starts to change. So it's like, yeah, this is the thing.
Yeah.
This is the holy grail.
One last thing before we go, that
Yeah.
just came to mind whenever you're saying all that is like, for the mom that's out there and is like, I'm just unhappy and I don't know why. I don't know why I feel unfulfilled, why I'm just like escaping my life in the doom scroll or in the binging of the TV or the food or the workout.
Mhm.
For that mom, this is the key piece. For that
Mhm.
person, for that woman, that guy that feels like you can't really put your finger on it, but you're like, this is not it, man. Like, this cannot be it. Like,
Mhm.
the freaking Groundhog Day that I'm living is not the business. This is where you start, is at self-awareness. And you really
Mhm.
sit down with yourself and you ask, what is it that I want my life to look like? Let's start there. What am I doing to get me there? How am I living as that version of myself that I want to be? This is where self-awareness really starts to take some form, and it can really be incredibly transformative in your life. So if
Agree.
you want to hear more of this conversation, please continue to join us. We've got additional content coming. I do have
This is only module one, right? This
I
is
know this is
module one
module
to this
one.
program.
For the ladies, I do have a Alchemy of Embodiment self-led program that there will be a link for. But this is all
Yeah,
part of it.
if you enjoyed this conversation today and you're like, no, I need more, I need depth, I need like, oh my gosh, this just lit me up, something fired up in me, like you definitely would want to get some more information about Nicole's program. The link is going to be down below. So feel free, click on it. She's got a beautiful little info page there about it. But there's been some really cool transformations and results coming out of this program that I've got to stand back and watch, and it's been really cool to see women being involved in this and even more. I know there's multiple modules and like stuff into this program, and we're going to kind of touch the surface on a couple of the other modules within our podcast here, just to give you a little taster of what this is like. So,
Yeah. So yeah, come sit with us. Thanks for
easy
joining us
for
today.
sure.
See you
Bye,
next
you
time.
guys.